How worried are you about a terrorist attack on U.S. soil right now?
That's what I've been saying, that the open border is a clear and present danger to this nation for, ever since Biden got into office and opened up the border. We've averaged over 7,800 people per day being encountered at the border since Biden took office. Obama said 2,200 a day was a humanitarian crisis. What is 4 times that? So, no, this is obviously a concern. It's certainly been at the back of my mind that maybe that is why President Biden's been coddling Iran to the extent that he has, because he's also concerned about potential assets of Iranian assets in here, sleeper cells from ISIS or Iran surrogates. We have to be concerned about that. The FBI director certainly is. We are at the highest threat level since 9/11 because of Joe Biden and the Democrats. The Democrats in Congress, their open border policy.
Senator Ron Johnson keeps trying, but I don't think he realizes that running on the border isn't going to convince anyone other than voters that would support Trump, no matter how much he promises to destroy their lives. The poll that Fox showed even illustrated that people tend to realize it's more of a lack of action from Congress than it is that Democrats are partnering up with cartels to kill your children. And if they believe Ron Johnson, ironically, though, they only need to hear from Ron Johnson to dispel Ron Johnson's lies.
If you're going to pass something like this, and by the way, in our conference meeting, when Senator Langford, who again I think is the perfect guy to do the negotiation.
Democrats agreed to work with Republicans and to craft a bipartisan bill to increase border security measures in exchange for that aid. But then Donald Trump came out against the deal. Republicans voted to kill their own bill in the Senate.
Mr. Johnson.
It's clown show behavior. Democrats actually did effectively reveal the truth about the MAGA Republican plan to kill a border bill that the same James Langford that Johnson propped up helped craft. It's another MAGA 180, where Trump loyalists are willing to ignore their responsibilities simply to please him, no matter how much evidence and proof they've left behind. They don't expect to get called out when they go on TV to act any differently.
That's wrong. So even getting an agreement to reverse
I'm sorry to interrupt
some of that.
you. I just want to push the point there, though. But it is all happening. But at this moment in time, the time is of the essence on the funding for these aid bills. And this stuff has not gotten worked out in months.
Yeah, but that is why I'm making the case that, Senator Schumer and the president should be giving a little. They see what's happening to our country. Do they not see the drug cartels profiting billions of dollars by human trafficking and drug trafficking? Do they not see 100,000 Americans dying from fentanyl that's coming over our border? Why will they not work with us?
Well, they did try to pass
No, they did not, actually.
Well, because the former president told them to kill it. So I'm just saying it was negotiated by James Langford.
Well, first of all,
and Kirsten Sinema and Chris Murphy. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation.
So if former President Trump didn't tell them to kill the bill that they would have normally supported to avoid President Biden being able to declare a win during election season, why did they change their minds? And also, did they forget that James Langford went on TV to sell the bill as Republican friendly and stands by his disappointment in his own party shooting themselves in the foot?
You're a real gentleman about this, and I know you're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch it. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election. It's the single biggest issue during the election. Don't resolve this. We'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
That, again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running. I'm already in office. I've got a responsibility to be able to carry on this. Again, he's got a task he's taken on, respectful. I've also got a task I've got to do. I've got to actually get this fixed.
So maybe the plan is that with enough yelling and dishonestly passing the buck to Democrats, voters will allow the fear-mongering to silence the reality of Republicans opposing what they once favored, all for the sake of Donald Trump's campaign. It's pretty sad.
Americans are dying, not just Ukrainians, at the hands of wide open borders. And now we're on the floor under a rule to give another $100 billion to fund war, unpaid for, with zero border security.
Wow, Mr. Speaker, I guess the gentleman from Texas is unaware of the fact that there was a bipartisan
border security deal that was agreed to that unfortunately House Republicans and Trump decided to kill.